started momentarily here for our FinCapDev Basics webinar. We're just going to give folks a few more minutes to join on, and then we'll begin. Hi everyone, again, this is Maria Lachewski with the FinCapDev team. We're going to get started in just a few moments. We're going to give other folks a few more minutes to join on. Thanks.
right, everyone. I think we'll start off this webinar. Thanks again, everyone, for joining the FinCapDev Basics webinar. We are delighted to have you tune in to learn more about the FinCapDev mobile competition and about broader opportunities for mobile technology to help underserved Americans improve their financial health and better access financial products and services. I'm Shaheen Hassan. I'm an innovation strategist with D2D Fund. I will be joined by my colleagues Maria Lajewski, who you just heard from earlier from the Center for Financial Services Innovation, as well as by Preeti Mehta from Doorways to Dreams Fund as well. So let's start off with some basic ground rules. Before I begin, I'd like to sort of explain a few functions of the program that we're using for this webinar. You have the option to listen in with headphones or call in using your phone, and you can select how you'd like to listen either by clicking the telephone or the mic and speakers option in the floating box that comes up after you log in, so on your right-hand side. Also, in this box, you will find a tab that is called Questions. We will be using this box for the Q&A portion of the webinar. If at any point of the webinar you have a question, please feel free to type it in this box. This is really meant to be a conversation, so if you have a question, please type it in and we'll field questions probably during our Q&A section. Lastly, I'd like to mention that we are recording this webinar and we'll offer the audio and presentations online shortly after the presentation. We will try our best to answer as many questions during the Q&A portion as to the best of our ability. However, we might not be able to get to all those questions. Rest assured, we will be recording, taking note of those questions, so they will be answered and circulated to you along with a link to the recording of this webinar. So let's get started. So today, we will be talking about some of the challenges faced by many underserved Americans in their financial lives. We will look at why mobile matters for an increasing number of households and discuss the opportunities for mobile technology to address some of those pain points and promote financial capability. We'll also learn more about what financial capability is and the role of mobile in driving it, particularly with regards to apps. After that, I will share some relevant information about FinCapDev, which is our mobile app competition that's designed to leverage some of these trends and capabilities of mobile to help underserved Americans make better financial choices. And we'll round out the webinar with a Q&A portion fielded by myself and my colleague Preeti Mehta. So I'll turn it over to Maria, who will speak more about the consumer challenge and the opportunities.
Great. Thanks, Shaheen. Good evening, everyone. Again, this is Maria Lajewski with the Center for Financial Services Innovation. CFSI is a proud partner and one of the co-administrators of the FinCapDev competition, and it's a pleasure to be with all of you this evening. To kick us off, I'm going to provide some background context on what it means to be financially underserved in the U.S. and talk about the growing opportunity for both innovation and investment in serving this market. In particular, we're going to talk about the mobile opportunity to really build a case and make an argument for why developers, entrepreneurs, and others interested in this sector should really think about applying to FinCapDev. And as we'll discuss, there's really a huge opportunity to leverage mobile technology to drive real behavior change and help consumers better manage their financial lives. So looking at this first slide, we know that more Americans are struggling financially today than ever before. This data was collected from consumers across the income spectrum and shows that 49% have difficulty covering monthly expenses. 56% don't use a budget to guide spending regularly. 33% have no non-retirement savings. 66% are not comparison shopping when purchasing financial products. And 44% of consumers gave themselves a grade of C, D, or F in terms of their financial knowledge. So overall, more and more Americans are finding it really difficult to manage their financial lives. And I'm sure most of us could probably identify with some of these challenges, or at least acknowledge that there's more we could be doing to improve our own personal financial health. And this data is particularly alarming for low and moderate income households, where exercising good financial behavior is really critical to climbing out of debt, being able to weather unexpected financial shocks, and ultimately in gaining economic stability. So to add to that, the FDIC estimates that 68 million Americans either lack full access to traditional financial services, like a bank account or a credit card, or they choose not to use these services. And that could be for a variety of reasons. Maybe the bank isn't open, but the check casher is, or the bank teller doesn't speak Spanish, but the payday lender does. So this means that a quarter of all households are turning to alternative financial service providers to meet their financial needs. Of these households, 8% are unbanked and 20% are what we call underbanked, which we define as individuals who may have a checking or savings account, but they still use alternative services for meeting some of their financial needs. So on one hand, we have a financial capability problem. More and more Americans are struggling to manage their financial health, and they're exercising less than ideal financial behaviors. And on the other hand, they also lack access to high quality and affordable products and services that could help move them forward. So bringing us back to mobile, while these consumers may be underbanked, they are far from disconnected. Underbanked consumers are actually more active users of mobile phones and social media than the general population. According to a Federal Reserve study, and you can see the graph here, 90% of underbanked consumers own a mobile phone, and 57% of those, more than half, own a smartphone. And that's compared to 87% and 44% of all consumers, respectively. One reason for this high adoption rate is that smartphones are often viewed as more affordable alternatives to online access than home computers for this population. So the vast majority of the underbanked are actually highly networked, and they're using their phones to connect via social media, purchase goods online, and increasingly to conduct financial transactions. 40% of underbanked consumers report that having used mobile banking as compared to 21% of the general population at large. So let's dig a little deeper here, since the intersection between mobile and financial services is really the driving force behind FinCapDev. In a poll, the Federal Reserve asked consumers, have you conducted any of the following financial activities in the past 12 months? And again, you can see from the bar chart here that the underbanked population is showing high levels of engagement. They're using their phones to check an account balance, pay a bill, and transfer money between accounts. And then if we think about the impact on behavior change, the Federal Reserve also asked, have you done any of these activities after receiving a text alert? 58% said yes, they transferred money into an account if they received a low balance alert. 41% said when they're notified about their spending behavior, they tend to reduce their spending habits. And 16% said that they deposited money into an account instead of just transferring funds. They actually deposited money when they received a low balance alert. So we talked a little bit about the mobile opportunity from the consumer perspective. We're now going to shift gears and talk about mobile as an opportunity and a win for both innovators and investors. CFSI, in partnership with Core Innovation Capital and Morgan Stanley, produced a series of annual reports that measure the size of the underbanked market and analyze key trends in the fintech space. So the graph you see here shows that the underbanked market is massive and growing. In 2012, we value the financially underserved market at $89 billion in fee and interest revenue. So think back to that previous slide that showed that 68 million Americans travel outside of the mainstream to conduct their financial lives. They're frequenting check cashers, payday lenders, etc., and they're being charged really high fees and interest rates. So collectively, the underbanked market is spending $89 billion a year to basically make the financial services system work for them. And this market is growing, and we project it to continue to grow. Revenue grew by 8% over 2011, and we project it to grow by another 8% in 2013. So as a result of this market size, a growing number of innovators and investors are emerging to provide these consumers, again, the highly networked but the underbanked, with the ability to leverage mobile tools to build savings, manage money, and build their credit worthiness. So there is innovation happening in this market, and it's incredibly exciting. Some of you may be familiar with a tech company called Simple. It's an online banking startup that promises to replace the hassles of a bank account with a simple white card and a mobile app. And just recently, they were acquired by a European financial institution, BBVA, for $117 million. And there are many, many other innovators like Simple building next-generation tools that hold promise for both financial and social returns. There are going to be links to CFSI's research at the end of this deck if you would like to learn more about some of the innovators and investors operating in this space. And we'll be sure to share this deck with you via PowerPoint or in a PowerPoint version via email also. And I'll also just put in a quick plug in here for a webinar that we'll be hosting on April 2nd with LLR Partners. They are a middle market private equity firm, and we'll be talking more about the investment opportunity in the underbanked market with them as well. So hopefully by now everyone is really excited to build that next great mobile app that can help millions and millions of Americans who are really struggling to improve their financial health. But in order to create an impactful app and really drive behavior change, we need to talk about financial capability. For those of you already in this space, you're probably familiar with this terminology. But for those of you who aren't, I'm going to provide just a quick overview. CFSI defines financial capability as a set of consumer behaviors that lead to tangible improvements in consumers' financial health. The key word here is behavior. So being able to cover your monthly expenses, to track your spending regularly, to plan ahead and save for the future, to effectively select and use and manage financial products, and not just to have financial knowledge, but being able to exercise that financial knowledge. So while financial literacy and what you know is important, we really want consumers to turn that knowledge into action and be financially capable. And having the tools to build healthy financial behaviors is key. So a few best practices to keep in mind, whether you're designing a mobile app for our competition or whether you're working on another product or intervention for the underserved market. In 2009, CFSI performed a landscape assessment where we looked at all kinds of different interventions that exist to help consumers better manage their money, and we found 4 key elements of effectiveness. First, the intervention should be relevant to a consumer's specific financial concerns and financial situation and be delivered in a context that is familiar and comfortable to them. Second, the intervention should be timely, coinciding with important decision points in a person's financial life. This could be around key milestones like getting married or sending a kid off to college, or specific times of the year like tax time, or even just in the course of conducting day-to-day financial transactions, such as at point of sale. And this last example, at point of sale or day-to-day financial transactions, is especially relevant to mobile tools. So as I'm standing in line at Starbucks, I would love, or maybe actually really hate, an app that could tell me how many lattes I purchased in the last 30 days. So having that timely access to information can really help us make better and more informed financial decisions. Third, coupling information and guidance with a product or service makes it easier for consumers to put that knowledge into practice. And finally, the intervention should be ongoing as consumers go through the process of behavior change. So especially in the mobile arena, innovative features that can offer personalization or timely text alerts and reminders are critical in building long-term customer loyalty and engagement. So again, by offering relevant, actionable guidance and education, along with a product, you're arming consumers with both the tools and the know-how they need to make positive changes to their behavior. There are many tweaks we can be making to financial products and redesigning them to really promote financial success. Things like defaults and automating transfers when account balances are low, etc. And at the same time, there's a lot of room for improvement on the guidance and information side to help support consumers in choosing the right products for them and in using them efficiently. So bringing this back to mobile, the 4 elements of effectiveness, again, relevant, timely, actionable, and ongoing, map really well onto the mobile opportunity. Mobile technology can allow consumers to aggregate their accounts, check their balance, send timely reminders and alerts, and help consumers make more informed decisions about how and when they spend, borrow, and save. So mobile is a really promising channel to both provide consumers with real-time information and guidance, but to also provide services and tools that embed product integration to turn that knowledge into action. But beyond increased financial capability and positive behavior change, we also know that mobile financial services can offer consumers greater convenience, enabling you to conduct financial transactions with a tool in your pocket. Mobile can also lead to increased security and fraud protection. So if there is fraudulent activity, consumers are able to be notified more quickly. We're also seeing new apps to help consumers make the transition from cash to electronic payments, especially in the small business arena with Square and all of the various wallet solutions we're seeing, and increasingly more activity on the transit side as well. Transit fare cards are becoming electronic payment systems in and of themselves. And finally, regarding improved access to basic financial accounts, we would be remiss not to highlight M-Pesa here on the international front. M-Pesa is a mobile-based money transfer and microfinancing service in Kenya and Tanzania and represents the most developed mobile payment system in the developing world. It allows consumers to withdraw, transfer, and deposit money easily with a mobile device. In the U.S., personal financial management, or PFM tools, first came on the scene in the late 2000s with leaders like Mint.com. Today, we've seen growing numbers of innovators and investors begin to develop and deliver better banking and payment services to consumers. And Move-In and Banking Up are 2 such examples. And so we hope you have a better understanding of the opportunity here for mobile innovation to help improve the financial health and financial capability of the more than 68 million Americans who are especially in need of affordable and user-friendly financial tools and products. And in spirit of turning knowledge into action, I'm going to now hand the presentation off to Shaheen, who's going to explain how you can apply this information to FinCapDev. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. So given what we know now about mobile, the opportunities to reach unbanked, underbanked, to help drive financial capability, D2D Fund and CFSI joined forces to launch FinCapDev, which is a mobile app competition that we initially launched in 2012 with a mission to put out apps to actually help financially empower underserved Americans. People are paying attention to these issues. One of our goals is to create a growing ecosystem of players across sectors, including developers, designers, financial service firms, fintech firms, and we're noticing and we're seeing that many of them are committed to championing mobile innovation for the unbanked and underbanked. And FinCapDev is our vehicle to empower and actually allow people to create and transform some of these ideas into viable apps. So what's in it for us? Why is D2D and CFSI doing this? Again, we are really trying to shine a light on the opportunity to leverage mobile to reach the unbanked and underbanked. In the end, we want impactful apps that help people, whether it's an app that allows them to spend better, save better, manage their debt, or access better financial products and services. That's essentially what we're looking for. Because we're nonprofits, we're not taking an equity stake in the apps. We want innovators and entrepreneurs to build these apps and get them out in the marketplace and in the hands of consumers. And as you just heard, it's a great time and opportunity to innovate in the fintech space. One other thing I'd like to call out is, we have generous support from pretty big players in the space, including Citi Foundation, Ford Foundation, MetLife, and others, and other partners that are very curious and interested in seeing the apps that come out of FinCapDev. So, what's in it for you? Why should you compete? We like to bill FinCapDev as a tech for social good mission or tech for social good initiative, and we actually have the goods to back it up. We know, and you just heard about the lucrative opportunities to innovate in the mobile space, but we want to make it easy for you to transform some of those ideas into market-ready apps. And we are prepared to help you do that by way of allowing you to win a $100,000 purse prize in prizes, including a $50,000 grand prize. You'll have an opportunity not only to build your app, but also have exclusive mentorship from financial industry firms, entrepreneurs. You'll have access to a network of investors, nonprofits, designers, technical tools to help you transform some of those ideas into apps. And you also have an opportunity to present your apps at a winners event, a demo day event that we will be holding in October in front of a high-impact audience composed of investors, entrepreneurs, executives in the financial technology space, as well as government and nonprofit leaders as well. So if you've been kicking around an idea for a while, here's an opportunity to actually build it, and we are providing you with the incentives to do so. And we have brought on an impressive array of partners. You can see here, many of them have graciously offered up resources to help FinCapDev entrants succeed. For example, Yodlee Interactive is providing winners with access to their APIs. Level Up is providing finalists with access to their payment gateway. Social Money is providing access to finalists with access to their APIs to help build savings accounts into apps. And we have a number of other analytical tools and user testing tools, really a great suite of technical tools and resources to help you build fully functioning apps. And more than that, we will connect participants and finalists from FinCapDev to this network of movers and shakers in the fintech space, designers at Intuit, mobile strategy experts at Citi, entrepreneurs that have some sound advice to give on go-to-market strategies for mobile apps to reach the unbanked, underbanked. So it's really a great lineup of partners, and they're all very excited and interested in seeing the apps that come out of FinCapDev. So next I'll go over the competitions layout. We opened up our call for applications in January, and it'll close on April 7th. This is called phase 1. We call it our Think It qualifying phase. And this is where people have an opportunity to form teams and submit their app design proposals online. Once the call for applications closes on April 7th, we have a set of judges that will winnow down that list to about 10 to 12 finalist teams. And these 10 to 12 finalist teams will go on to phase 2, which is the Build It phase. And this is where teams will receive that infusion of resources, cash stipends, and mentorship to support the development of an app. And that'll happen for a period of 4 months. And the next slide is, just a visual depiction of everything that I've sort of outlined. Again, some important dates to call out. April 7th, applications are due. Finalist decisions made will be happening on April 15th. Apps will be due to whatever platform you're submitting to September 15th. And our final event, our demo day, will happen in October 2014. This year, I should call out that we've done something new. Throughout the call for competition proposals, FinCapDev has and will host hackathons. We had one in February, earlier this month, and we have another one coming at the end of this month. And our hackathons are essentially 2-day events where we bring together entrepreneurs, designers, developers, students, innovators, really anyone with an idea and the technical chops to collaborate and build things. The next slide provides a little bit more information on our upcoming hackathon, which is in New York. And just so you understand how these hackathons work, what we essentially do at these hackathons is we have our participants hack to solve actual real financial challenges faced by households. That in this instance, we will be drawing from the U.S. Financial Diaries case studies, which this CFSI is actually leading. It's a research project that basically tracks 200 low to moderate income households over the course of a year and collects detailed information on their household financial activity and transactions. So hackers will get a chance to learn more about some of these case studies and hack around some of their pain points. And we will ask participants to develop hacks, prototypes, or apps for mobile platforms that attack some of those issues discussed in the Financial Diaries cases. And how this feeds into FinCapDev's broader mobile app competition is that the winner of the hackathon, so the one winner of the San Francisco hackathon, the one winner of the New York hackathon, will automatically be fast-tracked as a finalist into FinCapDev. And what that means is not only will they be receiving a grand prize of $3,000 plus a chance, at winning $50,000 as a grand prize in the mobile app competition, but they will also receive cash stipend to build their apps and access to those technical and expert resources that I had mentioned earlier. So the upcoming New York Hackathon will be on March 29th and 30th in New York at WeWork Soho. You can log on to our website, which is www.fincapdev.com, and there is a hackathon tab where you can find out more. Lastly, based on everything you've heard, if you have any interesting idea for an app that could help Americans spend better, save better, access better products, we highly encourage you to apply. You have the opportunity to build an app that has the potential to help millions of struggling Americans. And take note that many leaders in the financial services space are paying close attention to FinCapDev and are really curious about the apps that come out of FinCapDev. So I highly encourage you to apply. Our next slide, I'll quickly call out, Maria already mentioned our next webinar series. FinCapDev is very excited to partner with LLR to host our next webinar, which is titled Investment Opportunities in FinTech for the U.S. Emerging Market. Just to let you know, there will be more webinars in our upcoming series of webinars, so please stay tuned and sign up on our listserv, which can again be found on FinCapDev.com. So, that's it for my part of the presentation. We will now open it up to some questions and answer some questions to the audience. I am getting some questions in right now.
And before you jump into the question, Shaheen, I just want to reiterate that all attendees have the opportunity to submit a question live. And you can do that in the Access panel on your screen in the webinar tool. And so we'll be reviewing those questions and addressing them as time allows. Thanks.
Thank you, Maria. So we have gotten a few questions in. I'll go ahead and answer them as they trickle in. Our first question is, can I submit a functional app prototype in phase 1? The answer is no, it will not be evaluated. You can submit any materials, and that includes pictures, videos, screenshots, that you think will persuade us of the app's potential. And if you have a functioning app, you may submit any brochures or marketing materials to help explain it. And please be sure, if you do this, to put all your files in a zip file. Our next question is, it goes as following. When you say business model, viability of an app, what does that mean? That's a great question. You know, the questions that judges will be considering for this criteria revolve around whether or not the contestant is prepared and sufficiently skilled to build a business around the app. You know, does the contestant and entrant have a plan for customer acquisition? Can the contestant demonstrate market demand for a gap in the market that points to potential demand? You know, at the end of the incubation period, once the contestant has built a meaningful group of beta users or customers or institutions that could put the app on a path to scale, for example, those are the kinds of things that we will be looking at and that judges will be looking at. Essentially, we are trying to get a sense of how well you've thought through the market readiness of your app and what your business plan is to sustain your app in the marketplace. Keep those questions coming. We have another question here around who will judge my proposal? A team of judges from administrating organizations will evaluate the proposals based on our 4 published criteria. Essentially, an independent technical feasibility judge will evaluate the proposal on more strictly along the lines of technical feasibility and have your team make a convincing case. And you have to demonstrate that you have an understanding of and access to appropriate technical resources to build the app by the end of the incubation period. Okay, we've got another question in. What do you mean by a fully functioning market-ready app? Another great question. A fully functional app is really one that has been designed, developed, and thoroughly tested by the app development team and is ready to go to market. So that is, for example, it's ready to be hosted and made accessible by the Apple Store, by Google Play, or any other commercial app store. Okay, there is a question around IP. Who owns my IP? And the answer here is you own your IP. As I mentioned earlier, the administrating organization, CFSI, and D2D Fund will not take an equity stake in your app. You will maintain control and rights to your app, and you will have to make decisions about how much you want to share and with whom. We encourage everyone to consult legal counsel if it gets to that point. Okay, I have another question here around eligibility. So who is eligible to enter? And here I'd like to call out the competition is only open to either individuals who are U.S. citizens or permanent residents of 50 states in the United States and its territories who are at least 14 years old at the time of entry. Teams comprising individuals, each of which is at least 14 years old at the time of entry, provided that each member of a team is a full-fledged member of a team, and that each team has a team leader who is a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. I have another question around participation. The question is, are for-profit companies allowed to take part? Absolutely, so long as you indicate in the application that you are applying as an organization. Nonprofits are welcome to apply naturally as well. We have a question about the upcoming deadline. So the question is, after the April 7th deadline of the first phase, can new team members join the team? Yes, they're able to join so long as they meet the eligibility requirements that I had just outlined earlier. However, at this point, the team leader cannot change. There's a question around whether or not there are any physical meetings or requirements for the competition. So here I'd like to note that if you are selected as a finalist, you will have to participate in status update calls. These meetings take place via phone or virtually, however they are not in person. The one required in-person event will be the culminating final event, which is really an exciting opportunity for you to present your app design and demo it to a panel of judges and high-powered guests. And this event, as I noted earlier, will occur in October. And for this point, the competition, for the finalists that make it to this point, the competition will reimburse all travel expenses for this event as outlined in the rules. There's a question around FinCapDev, around being a FinCapDev finalist. How will FinCapDev market my involvement if I become a finalist? So FinCapDev will, maintain close contact with finalists throughout the building phase, and that, part of that might entail interviews through Skype, through IM, through phone, video, or Google Hangout to really chronicle your experience and your progress. We really want to hear your stories about building your apps. And that content can be shared, and we did this last year as well, through our FinCapDev and related social channels. In fact, many of our finalists found that very valuable. There's another question related to marketing. As a FinCapDev finalist and or winner, will I or my team have to do interviews with reporters, bloggers, producers, etc.? So, the FinCapDev marketing and PR team may encounter media opportunities that require the participation of finalists and or winners. While finalists and winners can certainly decline to interview, it is recommended that the finalists and winner participate in publicity opportunities. This will only help strengthen your own case and draw attention to your app. On a case-by-case basis for specific opportunities, FinCapDev marketing staff will be available to provide media relations guidance and support. That's a great question. Thanks for asking that. And just a reminder that this webinar is recorded and will be available for future reference. We will be sharing this webinar on our website and through other channels. And if we don't get to answer your questions today, please be sure to reach out, and we'll be sure to get back to you in a timely fashion. You can, again, the website, if you have any further questions after this webinar, you can contact info@FinCapDev.com. And now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Preeti, who is going to answer some more additional questions that have come in.
Hi, everyone. This is Preeti. Another question that came in is, what are the criteria for the first cut? Do we want bios of people, the concept, or what are you judging? So judging for each phase, remember there are two phases. Judging for each phase takes into account information that was submitted in that phase. So in phase one, the criteria that app proposals will be judged on are the innovativeness of the app, its impact, the business model, and the market viability, the technical feasibility of building the app. The competition rules, which are hosted on the FinCapDev website, www.fincapdev.com, have more details about what we want in each criterion. In phase two, the feasibility of the app will be replaced by ease of use of the app. Another question. What are the concepts that won the grand prize in the past? The 2013 grand prize winner was a team whose app was called Better Halves, BETTERHAVES, which was a budgeting and savings app for couples. To see a full list of winners and finalists, visit fincapdev.com/alum. On another question that came in is, to enter the competition, does the proposed business have to be a mobile app? And the answer is yes. For this competition, it does have to be a mobile app.
Great. We encourage you to keep submitting your questions if you have any more. I have another question here. Would local tech meetups be a good place to meet and interact with mobile developers? Absolutely. We actually encourage you to join tech meetups to network and identify potential team members. For other ideas, we also have blog posts on FinCapDev.com on how to connect with some of those designers and coders. So please be sure to tune into our website for more information. We have another question, which is, what's the best way to find out if there's already an app for that? That being my idea. We really encourage you to search the App Store or Google Play to begin, and also aggregator sites online to get a sense of the kind of apps that are out there. As you know, there's tons of PFM apps currently available in App Store. So we encourage you to think creatively to differentiate the kind of apps and ideas that you come up with.
Another question that just came in, is there an expectation that people working on this app full-time, that is, will be penalized for having a full-time job? The answer is no, there is no such expectation, and they will not be penalized. Another question that just came in, are there any resources made available to help individual applicants build a tech-savvy team? As Shaheen just pointed out, we have partnerships with several technology organizations that will provide tools and or assistance in using some of the tools. For example, in app development, we will have access to expert volunteers These people will be experts in either human-centered design or in another area of mobile technology development or systems architecture. Those are the sets of resources that will be provided. We are still developing the full suite. We have a preliminary list up on our website, which you can look at as well.
We'll hold for a few more questions.
Another question that came in, can your app proposal include the use of an existing API for development? Yes, it can. Another question that came in is, when will you know the date in October of the final presentation? We will post the date of the final presentation as soon as it is finalized, likely over the summer. But as soon as it is, we will make sure that everybody registered on the website is aware of it, and we will post it on the website as well. There are no further questions at this time. As both Shaheen and Maria have mentioned, we will be posting the webinar, the deck, and the Q&A that we just went through on our website shortly. And of course, we will let everyone know once we've done that. If there are additional questions that did not get answered and you sent them in today, they will be answered in that package. If you have questions that you weren't able to ask today, please let us know by sending us email at info@fincapdev.com. So if there are no further questions today, we will see you online. We encourage all of you to apply. And thank you so much for attending the webinar today. Again, stay tuned for the recording of this webinar, the Q&A, and the slides. Thank you very much for your time and interest in FinCapDev.